Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, The Hollywood Hustler, where I give free advice to filmmakers on acting, writing, producing, directing. Today, we are talking about classic films. Now, the reason I bring this up is because the question is thrown out to you. How many classic films have you seen, and why should you see these classic movies? Here we go. All right, listen to this. Off the top of my head, I am going to pick a decade. I'm going to pick, let's say, 1970s, because that was a really strong decade for movies. And I'm going to read to you all the Oscar Best Picture winners.
What?
And there's no cue cards over here. There's no teleprompter. There's nothing. There's no secret, method that I'm using to get these. So if I screw up, I screw up. But here we go. You could double check me. 1970 would be Patton. 71 would be French Connection. 72, Godfather. 73, Sting. 74 is Godfather Part 2. 75 is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. 76, Rocky. 77, Annie Hall. 78, The Deer Hunter. 79, Kramer versus Kramer. 80, Ordinary People. There you go. Okay, that is off the top of my head. I memorized that entire list, and one day maybe I'll just make a video of me reading out that list off the top of my head. But the bottom line is, you need to watch these films. Why? Okay, it's not just knowing the history of the business, which that alone is super important for you to know where things came from. Where did close-ups came from? Who was the first filmmaker that used deep focus? Who was the first filmmaker that used a Steadicam? And you have to understand that everything that goes forward in films usually has been done before. Now, there's new things coming out all the time, new technologies, people like James Cameron advancing films, but at the end of the day, take a look at maybe Avatar, perfect example, James Cameron movie where it was new technology, but a pretty old story. I mean, you could look at The Last Samurai, and it's the same exact story. You could look at Dance with Wolves, very similar story. Okay, so somebody, the outsider, coming to this world, getting affected by that world and changing. And literally, beat for beat, you can go down and compare those films. So the stories have been done before. But you need to see the history and know, okay, this is when acting changed, when On the Waterfront came out and Marlon Brando is in the car and his brother, he's Terry Malloy, the character, his brother pulls a gun on him. And instead of going, which at that point, that's what acting was, he just had this moment of sympathy for his brother. And you look and you go, that movie changed acting, okay? But the thing that you need to understand is that if you haven't seen those films, you're kind of out of the conversation, right? When people are talking about movies, you're not a historian in the fact that you know where you came from. You know the essence of movies, okay? And I can do that. I remember being in a theater in Tennessee, and we were in Memphis, and there was a wall, a mural of all these old stars. And these two old guys were looking at it, and I was looking at it too, and they said, did you get them all? And I said, it's really tough. And they said, yeah, it's tough remembering all these old actors. I go, I thought you were trying to tell me what picture that was from. I go there, watch this. And I literally went through and I named every single one of maybe the 30 or 40 old actors, and I got one wrong, and it was just a mistake. I called Buster Crabbe, who was, used to play Tarzan and was an Olympic swimmer. I called him Buster Keaton. And other than that, they were dumbfounded because they knew maybe 3 or 4 of the people on there. And as soon as I said Buster Keaton, I said, that's wrong. I said, I don't remember what his last name was. It's something like that. But anyway, the bottom line is, when you know where you came from historically, when movies came from, you're more rounded as a filmmaker. Years and years ago, I worked at a hotel. And the best guy there, that had, the main manager that everybody went to answer their questions, was a guy that had worked his way up from bellman to doorman to front desk manager to overnight to manager to front office manager to running the whole hotel. Same with Dick Cook, the chair of Disney Studios, who created the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. He was a ride operator in Disney in 1970. He literally was the guy that said, enjoy your ride, and pulled the button. Worked his way up. Why was he one of the most respected studio bosses? Because he knew so much about the company. So let's look at the company being film in general, the history of film. If you know it, you will be a better filmmaker. You will be more well-rounded as a producer, actor, writer, director, whatever you want to be. Hey, if you're enjoying these videos, please like, comment, share, subscribe. And if you want some specific instruction on how to raise money for films, go to bankrollyourmovie.com. And I hope to see you soon.